Strata.
You're here! Finally!
Is something wrong?
Monsieur Durvelet and Lady Furry? Like I said, I've already explained everything!
And yet the problem has not been properly. It is not my. Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson incident.
You mean they're all...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not have it happen again. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found them in some ancient...
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing.
The prophecy...
The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this?
I don't! I've never seen such slates!
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to, or apologize for, a certain sin.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I know nothing? I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the prophecy on the sly. This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know any of Egeria's secrets, as well as do nothing following your inquiries. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior is very inconsistent.
So you've been watching me all this time, have you? I didn't think you were that type.
You...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then you should know I'm actually working to take care of it. There's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should be following my lead. Just trust in me, your Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this matter again. Oh, the opera's about to start. Toodles!
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling. Huh. She didn't seem in the mood to care if we were listening in or not.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh, you know...
She was in a great panic. though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again, a state of affairs that we cannot allow to continue. Still, I do not understand. Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is her attitude. I fear that she will not reveal anything unless absolutely forced to. We may have to create a situation in which she will have no choice.
Oh? Like what?
Normally, people will...
But Farina's seen so many trials and she...
We will need to consider this thoroughly. Join forces. If at all possible, I would prefer to... This may be cruel to her, but all thought... But who will lend us their aid to do such a thing?
Well, that's everyone, huh? Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people. That naturally makes it the best choice.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing in the world, huh?
That's what families should do. Sit and enjoy a leisurely time together.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you, friend?
Me? No, I don't think I can.
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as it is in court.
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things.
That was a little long-winded, don't you
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the... As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be...
Oh?
Well, it's...
Huh?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good...
I see.
He is glad that you...
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were young.
I've also gone diving.
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, though that was their name. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned. A trap comprises of the following. So,
For me, our line of work requires...
You use some of those techniques while moving...
Yes, and
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my...
And I can be there
with discretion.
I remember that...
I did.
What about you, Monsieur Neuvillette?
I fear...
That makes sense. You used, but I do have one more question. If we were to create a... If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, what?
Only a hunter who's a
So...
Huh.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them... But we shall require much more courage than any...
Oh, so that's what's going on.
Astra Abyssos. Thank you for completing. Ad Astra Abyss.
Solidify!
Access denied. Blaze over. Motion to compel.
Wind strike! Chance! The clouds high, the birds call!
Gather!
No touching. Boom boom.
I will have order! Stabilize!
Access denied. No touching. This is long overdue.
Gather!
Motion to compel. Time for your arraignment. A blade embraces its duty. As a
Time to go. Follow the wind.
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for so long, but everyone seemed pretty fired up, huh? Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little surprised. Well... It's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Huh? Did you just pour some tea? Paimon didn't notice you doing that at all. Then what's that? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea. I merely refrained from saying anything till now.
Who's that voice? But there's no one here.
Ah, have you forgotten me already?
Wait, you are...
You're feeling lost now. The prophecy.
What?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Just as prophecies are the things that you shall...
What is she talking about? It all sounds really...
I believe that you understand, right? Ultimately.
The voice. Alright, coming! Hey, it's you who's getting lazy, okay?
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. Not all Fontanians.
Did you...
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can people allow their lives to be commandeered by just a few words?
That's right! Paimon's glad to hear something sensible for once.
Yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight, but I wouldn't get your hope. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty...
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive...
Whoa. The Hexens...
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing must truly be of great importance.
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she said.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means perhaps it is something that... Traveler?
Oh, we're fine.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has... But even so, perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not I did originally think...
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about Astrolot. It was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I suppose that might be why...
Paimon feels kinda moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon suddenly feels like... Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by. written in... Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy, but that my recent attempts to enter the thus didn't... So while the fortress is interior, journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Charlotte took so many awesome she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything. Ugh, seriously? We're here! Paimon's hungry. Should we go in and get something to eat? Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go, Paimon's...
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia.
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right. You really can eat.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food. As for me, I love the cake and coffee here.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and coffee.
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here anymore?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but maybe the waters will rise tomorrow.
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, still, even if there'd be no more cake tomorrow, that wouldn't keep me from having some today. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call living, you know.
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake to go? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface to teach us things about humans. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can only live... I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try to stay in a good mood after eating, all right? Bye.
And there she goes. All right, let's dig in. Paimon's sure this cake will be delicious. It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea. It sure would be nice if we could come again tomorrow. Sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here. Oh, we're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat. Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Ha! You've got some nerve! You just used... Oh, you needn't worry. It's all right, though. Really? You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. Well, Paimon... Still, what brings you here all of a sudden? A friend of ours met you a while... Ah, so you know Miss Mona as well. She's a guest columnist for our paper. Really good one, too. She's so young and already such a brilliant astrologist. So she mentioned me? What did she say? She said that you're a real daredevil of a journalist. Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request an exclusive interview with the legendary Traveler and Paimon? Huh? So your article in the paper today doesn't count? Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and experienced. Yeah, are we even qualified enough? Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it. But not right now, of course. I'll need a few days to prepare. Oh, in that case, we'll just chat when you have the time then? Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the edit. Ooh, so much to get done now. Talk to you later. Wait, Charlotte. Paimon's still got a question for you. And what's that? If, just for example, Fontaine were to be... Huh. That's the prophecy. If you're seriously asking, then from what I've seen, most people don't know what they do. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. Just think about it. If this nation... And then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing. I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a work... But anyway... That's... So... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all... No, Paimon should have... We've always been moving to the next destinations. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait! Feels like you'll grow, but it's still better than the...
So the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais...
Yes, I'm Isadora. Not at all. Yes, inside...
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Farina loudly accusing her, and before she could respond, the crowd continued to grow and...
So people...
I agree. People will...
So what happened after that?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this. The Marechaussee Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone.
So, you mean she's still...
That's right. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She isn't good. Monsieur Nervous...
Don't worry, this is more than enough to go...
Is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, and as we also know, she may be loud and dramatic. When Nervalette was talking to her, it would be hard for... Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken... Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon, in that case, there's none of... This place looks deserted. Guess all the survivors must have evacuated already. All that's left here are signs of devastation. Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. That's Farina, right over there. She really is here all on her own.
Shouldn't was meant to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just us. Farina.
What did... Who did that? They even do... Oh, and I'm sure...
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are... They're just some rabid fans who want to cut the line. That's against the rules. I can't let them get...
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to catch up with her! This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to Paimon before the rest of them catch up to you.
What is this place?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Fine. I suppose haste is warranted. Lead the way.
Paimon's exhausted.
No, I mean, I merely gave... You're right.
Yep, that's a good girl.
What's happening? The ground's shaking. Is it an earthquake?
Yeah, a quake of this kind preceded the flooding in Poisson, didn't it?
It can't be. It's
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Neverlette's made some emergency...
Yeah. I hope... But the people of Poisson... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for hundreds of years. I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything to keep the coastline from advancing. But all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, the truth has been clear to me for a very long time. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have... Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. It would mean finally coming to terms with fate, but indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times. Especially after we almost lost fate. Is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rule, but just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will keep... Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse to play the stricken maiden, but honestly, don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the whims of
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually...
share my burden. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, and if Tivat...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
So this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Fosalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very...
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your...
Paimon can't believe it. She just...
What the heck is going on? Did I just see an Archon surrender to a...
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceeding... But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfold. Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Fosalor, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time.
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat. So, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean, the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion... Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding...
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage. Oh? Is that so? It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the Wait, then that means this document is a perfect... So in other words, we can refer to this... Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, alright?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part. I didn't think that this is the first of the Fortress of... According to Monsieur Neuville, the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Nervilette. But just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god.
That's true. But my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very—
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge—
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our—
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. And if I was not the Archon, then how did I manage to live for over 500 years?
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can— First of all, you may be a member of—
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You—
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura, but in light of this claim—
Neverlet sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina— Well, it—
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said. Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very—
That doesn't sound right. You tried to reference the Oratrice.
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of—
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of while the court is in session, the principles of justice and the law, you will prove yourself.
I never thought—
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand the structure and operations of the Oratrice, instead of having been created by—
the real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why, but the Oratrice handed out that— You can't—
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power—
If that poses a concern.
You know,
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it that you can't even wield the power of Hydro, much less the authority of a god?
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the people, and I've converted the people. Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives. Have you ever seen a more—
Isn't that a huge stretch?
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power even still be called a god?
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please don't stare at me as if I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? The one that you loved. Please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really has committed a grave offense.
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too? And then all of our ancestors? Ever since they were born?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not the real Hydro Archon, then who is? If you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you find anyone who can back up their claim to be such, then what ground—
Wow, she came up with yet another argument. How can we refute her now? Seems like she really doesn't want to give up. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't... It has been established that all Fontanians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea. And that means...
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and now.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution.
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear this now. I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck the area not long ago, taking many, including those of some of my closest. So, Miss Farina, would you dare to touch some of this seawater? If we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have no effect on you. All it should do is strengthen your butt. If you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more people just— I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path.
Navia from the Spina di
If Lady Farina's in—
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you possess the right to decline participation.
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate is basically the same as a confession.
She's just staring at the wall.
What's going on?
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! My hand is still dissolved! Will you believe me now? I really am—
Miss Siegewing? If you are present, Miss Siegewing, please come—
Siegewing? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few seconds. Let me see. That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation to the court.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation and flushed skin. These indicate that she was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected is the same as other humans when exposed to primordial seawater of a similar concentration.
Thank you, Miss Siegewing. Lady Farina, you may return—
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved. Shouldn't that be enough to prove my innocence?
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater around. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. After all, on the off chance that we don't want anyone else to lose their life to the sea.
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample and asked the head nurse to— It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used for—
I can't believe— you— Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me such cold— Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the— Also, if I was really just a human, why would I dare to— Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's any way left—
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone. She's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale, Farina is—
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice's verdict?
No, the Oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought that it was just a myth.
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court, and it's been given to the very person we've worshipped as the god of justice? What an unexpected twist.
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice? We just wanted to use the trial to show her the seriousness of things so she'd tell us the truth.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, as well as its is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that Farina has never. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the Hydro Archon. What does this mean?
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Fremine! You finally made it. I assume this means you've...
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father assigns to me.
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the knave privately arranged...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. It took me a long time to get around, but has the trial already...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the... Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's Farina, and we've already proven that... So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real Hydro Archon?
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stone slates. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine... Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. But if Oceanids can turn into humans, then perhaps this process can be reversed as well. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people were... This must be the point when the third slate shows the Hydro... That reminds... Well, the fourth slate is the We didn't believe that such a... That doesn't sound quite... That doesn't...
The prophecy from the fortress, if we hadn't dealt with...
That doesn't sound... That doesn't... That doesn't... That doesn't...
We know from the cave and this... Perhaps what is about the truth and the original... It's not as simple. When Navia, the stone slate...
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea but won't cease to exist. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins. The eruption of the primordial sea at the stone slate's contents can all be verified by recent events.
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
We're...
All Fontanians were the evidence for that. Oh, and according to...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate. That could also explain why the
Hydro Archon...
And yet, after many hundreds of years...
Yeah, isn't the image here just... So wouldn't it be trying to show the image in the end? Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, when we were at the ruins, now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another...
Well...
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all your hypotheses regarding the Fontaine of old. The previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon. However, even not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiar. She poured prime. But if Fontanians... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the...
So you... We were all Oceanids before we turned into human beings?
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that I never heard a single thing. Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death. After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your regular Fontanian, but it...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates risk a key point of the visual on the third slate. They have not been dissolved. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. And you may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore, that the people of Fontaine shall... Yes.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even though we decided to put on this trial to avoid fulfilling the prophecy, in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy foretold.
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy in your deduction about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of... However, I believe as for the root cause of the catastrophe... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to...
It was both dream and...
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that...
The truth, the...
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, it's...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled the...
Precisely. That whale, therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection. Anyway, now that we...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off to...
That's not something I will We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last hurdle is some impossible...
Indeed. That's not how a grand performance should end.
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening? Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what.
What's happening with the Oratrice?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Verena! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Verena. Who are you?
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor? Why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria. She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass. And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human body.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and the me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human in every way. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the... Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part of the god from the... I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human, isn't she? Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary human. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human form, I most definitely owe her an apology for it. It's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly painful opera of all time.
Yeah. Quake!
come onto this stage. Now, all right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must, at all times, display the utmost elegance and... Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Boom boom!
This is order. Fallen leaves, adorn my night!
All hail! Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards! No touching!
Wind Strider!
Solidify!
I will have order!
Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're... mirror me? How can this be?
Mirror you, huh? You know what?
Mirror me. What do you wish to say?
The prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? Wait. I know. I think the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sin—
Oh, very good.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yeah.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
I will tell you how to—
Oh, as for that, if there were—
I suppose this would also—
Huh?
Don't worry.
Play as—
That's right. If you can—
But—
Don't worry. Being a human, remember—
So, how—
To accomplish, but I promise you—
A trial. Cardinalise has announced my accession. What should I say to most... I'm sure you've all heard about how... In truth, I know that as the god Focalor, that once again, I thought I might...
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses...
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen.
Wait, what's going on? Why is that right? Calm down, Farina. Assertive, with... Now, I was wondering if some... Well, you may consider... Now then!
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were inside an...
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your ardor for justice. We have heard it said that this nation's... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me... No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not... May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is, so long as I...
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the...
Come now. Besides... A magnificent...
That's true,
No need for fright. And do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now. Do your...
Lady Farina, I don't know.
No need to thank. All right.
He's too...
Lady Farina.
I see. It's as I thought then. All manner of sign. Really?
I'm...
The day is finally over, but it's good to... Maybe this is fine.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports.
There'll be no...
Lady Farina.
Indeed, my
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological...
Understood. I feel utterly...
Lady Farina, it's... I've heard that the first member of our... Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god.
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of your...
So interminable. Hundreds of years. I never imagined, have I want to tell someone all I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't, although I don't know.
Share. That's impossible. It was fate.
But even if you're just share it with me.
A witness. And if to... He's right. I could, but if things don't... No, Farina. But what if, Farina, is it such if you let this think about it long and hard? No. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness my performance until the curtains fall.
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth?
Yes, she did very well. If she had let her resolve, it seems that trusting human...
I believe that I am... How would you build on this fact?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the... I'm sure you...
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Linny did mention that he heard a... It now seems that person...
And then I became one with the oratories, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes. Alas, you're under... In truth, it is no enactor of... Oh, you... My work over these... But really, the vast majority has been... Had to be...
It was all...
Indeed. This power accrued over 5 centuries, but only...
So the oratrices called... The destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's right. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro... Oh, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done...
I've never quite seen... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Were they not guilty of essential... Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea. And the heavenly principles, for my part... Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies in the process of pursuing human existence itself. So, if the theft of the primordial sea... Then... leaving matters of... In other words, defying the prophecy... At this point, Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your...
So when I was invited to the court at last, in the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of... You are a devious one, Focalor. Things being as they are, surely you know that I could never declare them to be.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervalette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Iudex Nervalette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened? Has the death sentence been carried out?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection? I have a feeling that something huge just happened.
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved, I assume whatever happened was good for us.
It's time to end this. We must mete out punishment to that beast.
Didn't you say just a moment ago that it can't be defeated?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, I now have the ability to separate the power of the primordial sea from that creature. We should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, come with me, Traveler. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon. I shall look for an opening to
touching. Yeah. Ha. Access denied. Boom, boom.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. Chance will present itself.
Next on the agenda, motion to compel.
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility.
Why is there a hole thingy over there? Looks really scary.
Time for your arraignment.
Cloud's high. The birds call.
I have granted you my consent. Do not fear. Seize the moment. Use my power to press its root from within.
This is long overdue. I can fix this. Incinerate. We're waiting.
I will have order. Crumble.
Born of ice and frost. Motion to compel. Access denied. Breath of the flame.
Stabilize. As one with wind and cloud.
Thanks for helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job. It was just supposed to. Well, actually.
That power.
It's just that he is the...
I simply did not. So you may speak to me as equal. I have to agree. That kind of power, all in all.
Miss...
The point.
Well, being that this pet, so what sort of person...
Oh, right. His name is Sertologi.
I am unfamiliar with that name.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous. How should I...
The foul...
Still nothing?
Ooh, that one...
Oh, but I suppose you...
Wait!
Actually, never mind that they all devour such roiling as such. In other words...
What?
Not to worry.
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Commands initiate emergency rescue! Hurry!
Hey, lend a hand!
Look! The water's receding!
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Are you alright?
We're safe.
The prophecy was wrong.
The soil renewed. The Sphina attacks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet with Miss Navia, spokesperson of the Sphina and we spoke about Poisson's present and future. Old soil can still give birth to new bloom, Miss Navia stated. Hope is like seeing a small cookie when you're starving late at night. You just need a little of it. Skyship Winglet, lunar brain of the Fontaine Research Institute. The various disputes that have arisen on account of Mr. Edwin have suddenly become a shield over the Institute, with Jurier turning out to be a once overlooked hidden gem. People always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And should that latter person achieve a miracle, they would find it all the harder to find a word with which to classify him and his team. Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really Jurier and Navia?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The Steambird's idea was pretty simple. The value for these big scoops lies Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a
Paimon's curious too!
And that's exactly
are you sure?
Oh, this time...
Oh, it's you. What brings you all here?
Hey, we're just having a look around.
I'm here to update myself on how things are going here. Oh, the Fatui are here too!
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snežević. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of supplies, and is helping with our work. Our residents are hard at work as well. Thanks to everyone, work is progressing nicely. We've lost a lot of people, but we're moving forward. That will have to be enough.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours. I especially like that article you wrote last year about Fontaine's stray cats. But if you don't mind, could you not emphasize our role too much in your report? It's not charity we're doing here. We just happen to share the same interests as the Spina.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as simple as possible. Or would you be willing to feature as friendly neighbors?
That would be fine. Thanks.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials. It'll be another hour before the workers are able to go over there.
Huh? You're here too, Clarand?
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole duel business with Miss Farina. So she's here in Poisson to wait out the heat. All right. She really came here to help me out.
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson. The Spina has need of more decision-makers. And, well, I do already happen to be connected to Mr. Callis.
Oh, wait just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions? You know, about how you felt before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god. There's lots of exciting material there, I bet.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that, Miss Charlotte.
I see you're the same as always. Couldn't you do me a favor, for Navia's sake?
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos of me. Or of the Traveler. It's better than wasting time persuading Chlorand, at any rate.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo, gather up. And smile.
How did it go? Was it a good shot? Did Paimon look cute in it?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture. All right, hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is of the essence when it comes to the news, and freshness is the key. Also, not to brag, but I'm pretty good at building connections. Who knows? I might eventually get that interview with you after all, Miss Chlorand.
Wow, you really do have that never say die spirit. I'm impressed.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview at the Fortress of Meripede.
Whoa, you're well informed. Let me make a guess too. I asked Sijuin who told Monsieur Nervillette, and he told you, right?
That's a very complete information chain.
In truth, all Monsieur Neuvillette asked me was, when did the fortress become so friendly towards the media? I told him that it was best not to speak too soon. There's no guarantee that Ridesley will make a personal appearance.
You're right. I've got to treasure every moment I have with them. In which case, I'll be making a move first.
Stay safe now. And tell me if you hear anything interesting. I'll treat you to afternoon tea in exchange.
This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. This scenery is wonderful. Surely enough to convince anyone to become a wanderer. There are leaves around, and I know just the tune to accompany them, if you wish to hear it. Wherever in this world I roam, I carry memories of my home. This blade, it is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
The wind knows me.
This world is full.
Water jet!
Go!
Water jet!
Sounds good to me.